My name is Megan Teresi. I'm the director of the Professional Development Center here at St. Ambrose University. If you haven't been here before, we're so glad to have you this month for our Young Professionals Lunch and Learn. If you have been before, welcome back. We're really glad to have you as well. It's always great to learn alongside you and gain some new information. So before we get started, I just have a few announcements and folks to thank and an introduction. So one announcement, we are approaching our deadline for registration for our Fall Leadership Certificate Program. It's called Leadership for the Quad Cities, and it's a 6-day spread out over the course of 3 months, different sessions on really building your leadership skills. So you will go under a 360-degree evaluation tool. You'll get some one-on-one coaching and feedback, and then you'll go through the process alongside industry peers. A few folks who we have on the phone today are in the course as well, and so you'll get to know some other leaders in our community who will share their experiences and kind of build on that knowledge and those new tools that you get from the program as well. So it's a great program. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions about it or would like to learn more. Our hard registration deadline is August 1st, so it's coming right up, and we would love to have you. And we do have some sponsorships, scholarships available as well for that program. So feel free to reach out to me or Alyssa Rice, who will be on the call a little bit later, if you have any questions about that. You can also learn more by pointing your phone at that little QR code up in the corner there. So with that, we'd also like to thank our sponsors, the JCs of the Quad Cities. They have been sponsoring this particular program for a couple of years now, and we are so grateful for their generosity. They're a great nonprofit that does a lot to encourage leadership in our community, especially among young professionals. If you haven't had a chance to check them out and you're interested in doing some more networking, I highly encourage joining this group or just checking out one of their monthly meetings to see what they're about. They will also have a big fundraising event coming up this October, the Barbecue C event. There'll be great food, music, fun things to do, and there's also booth space if you're, if you work for a place that might be interested in that. All of the money and proceeds from their events go back to helping the community and doing programs just like this. So thanks again, JCs. See a few of you on here for your partnership along the way. All right, well, with that, and without further ado, I have the pleasure today of introducing Megan Brown-Saldona. She's the Executive Director of Lead Her Quad Cities. She joined their team in January 2020. Her background's in higher education, where she focused on career and college readiness for at-risk populations. Megan attributes her success to having strong mentors. I'm here today because I am where I am today because of many mentors in my life. Most of the time I didn't like it and I didn't know they were pushing me to be a better version of myself. Looking back, mentorship has made all the difference. Megan loves to talk, and you can reach out to her at megan@leadherqc.org. And with that, Megan, thank you so much for being here to talk to us today about mentorship. The floor is yours. Let me stop sharing my screen. Give me just a second.
Okay. Hello. Thank you so much. Can I get like a thumbs up? Are we feeling? You can see me. Are we good? Okay. My name is Megan Brown-Saldona. There are a lot of people on this call who are familiar faces. There are a lot that are brand new names to me. So we're going to have like a mixed bag today. Thank you, Megan Tracy, for having me. And thanks to JC of the Quad Cities for making sure that we have lunch together, even if it's virtually. Like Megan said, I'm the Executive Director of Lead Her. If you're not familiar with Lead Her, we're the mentorship program fueling career and community engagement for women in the workforce. That's our mission. That's a big mouthful, right? So what we do is we actually take newer professional women and match them with more seasoned professional women. And again, that's also very broad. I'm going to tell you a lot about some different stories If you think of what mentorship means to you or what your experience is, it's definitely going to be a little bit different than the person who is next to you. So we're going to come to like a common understanding today, and hopefully everyone's going to walk away with a couple of new skills, including the 2 essential skills that I would say everyone has to practice in order to be successful with mentoring. So Lead Her is a free organization, and the reason that we are free is because we want to make sure that women don't have another barrier, right? So when we talk about women in the workforce, there are lots of different things that women might experience, not all women, right? But groups of women have different experiences and have different barriers that hold them back. We talk about this as the sticky floor, the broken rung, the glass ceiling. Those are kind of like the words that we associate, or the, what do you call those, like clickbait words. For Lead Her, what we do is we match women with other women, hopefully to gain some skills or knowledge to be able to overcome or work around some of those barriers. So mentorship is a voluntary developmental relationship where experiences are shared between a woman of greater experience with a woman of lesser experience, characterized by mutual trust, respect, honesty, and commitment that creates understanding for the mentee in a safe environment. I got some quick facts here about mentorship. Women with mentors are 5 times more likely to be promoted. Women of color who believe 62% of women of color believe a lack of mentorship holds them back in professional settings. I won't read all of these. And so how does Lead Her give mentorship? We do that in 2 different ways. That's through one-on-one mentoring and then group mentoring. So how it works is our mentors and mentees actually fill out a survey, and they tell me personally a little bit about themselves, their secrets, their hopes, their dreams. And I go out and I find a mentor or I match with a mentee based on those things that you tell me. So it's not always going to be about the woman who wants to be the marketing director, and then I find the marketing director and then one shows them the exact way how to do that. That, you know, maybe that's a perfect world, but maybe what that mentee really needs is to work on their project management, or maybe they need to work on their public speaking. And so I can find perhaps a better fit as a mentor to help a mentee with those goals. And that's why we're a community-based professional mentoring program. So that allows us to be cross-industry. And so women we are able to create one-on-one relationships, but perhaps it's in all of the ways that you're not getting in your current professional-based mentorship. Also, a lot of organizations don't provide a mentoring program, especially if they're smaller. And so Lead Her, getting that one-on-one mentor is perhaps a brand new experience for some on the call. And we also do group mentoring. And so we have huddles. If you're familiar with Lead Her, that is our signature networking event. We always try to do a really meaningful and impactful topic. At our last huddle, we had around 52 individuals, and they all learned different negotiation skills. And so that's the way, those are the 2 ways that we have created a community of almost 1,000 women since our inception. And we provide mentorship by just making connections, giving women other women and the tools to leverage other women through mentorship. So I know that we've got like 29 people on the call. So is anybody willing to come off mute? Not Amberwood, I'm going to talk about you later. Is there anybody that wants to share just like, what's your experience with mentorship? If I was going to ask you 1 through 5, 1 being 0%, have never had a mentor, or 5, like I live and breathe as a mentor or mentee, what would that be?
Well, I'll go. I My name is Michaela Booth. I'm with Birdies for Charity. I would say I'm a 5 out of 5. I also attribute mentorship as a very big Kickstarter in my career. I had one in college through a program that was offered at Western Illinois University through my program. So I was assigned a mentor through there, and it really kickstarted my career. I feel so strongly about it now that I actually do mentor with Lead Her now. So feel very passionate about that it works, and I'm still learning and still seek out mentors right now.
That's awesome. And it's like cheating because I actually matched Michaela with her mentee. And I'll just tell you kind of like my thought process here. So Michaela is methodical and precise, and she has experience in nonprofit and event planning and all of these things. And so I matched with someone who was a part-time nonprofit employee and had an opportunity to become the full-time ED. And she had a mentor who had a different kind of personality, and she was really, really needing some of the things that I felt like Michaela could offer her. And they're still matched today. And so that is, positive signs so far. How I know that it's been really busy, but if you wanted, did anybody else want to share? Does anybody else feel like, wow, I actually, I've never had a mentor and I don't know what this is.
Hey, Megan. Can you hear me?
I do not hear clearly. It sounds like someone.
Okay.
Oh, it's Amy. No, Amy, I can't hear you. Will you throw it in the chat? Maybe it's kind of hard. Like that's a lot to type.
I'd be happy to share real quick. I feel like I am totally on board with mentorship now, but I think I didn't even realize I had mentor. Like, I feel like I was a person who benefited from informal mentors early in my career. And now I have the right words to express what they were doing for me. And so now I can think about it more strategically of like, oh, these people are mentors, or maybe these people would be prospective mentors if I thought about our relationship this way and thought about like what questions I should strategically be asking them and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. I came to Lead Her. We're not going to talk a lot about me today, but I had finished my master's degree and I was working in career college readiness, and I was like so ready, but felt held back by the fact that I had no experience in like direct service experience in nonprofit. And so I applied for a mentor through Lead Her. So when I became the executive director of Lead Her 2 years, like a year and a half later, I had experienced a lot as a mentee in the role of a mentee through mentorship. And something that we find that is different between men and women is that men often find they feel like natural mentors, or it's easy for them to teach someone else, whereas women have to be convinced that they're mentors. I run a mentoring organization, and I am like, it is so hard, and it is the greatest challenge at the same time. So I feel like I'm a successful mentee. And then I matched myself with a woman who I saw a lot of what she struggled with in some of the things that I really struggled with. And it pushed me in ways I didn't even know that I needed to grow. So something that is also really great about Lead Her is it's about growth of both people, reverse mentoring, whatever it is, intergenerational mentoring, inter-industry mentoring. You get all of those things through Lead Her, and that's what makes it so great. The reason, so not to like bring the mood down, but the reason that mentorship matters is because, like I said, there are a lot of barriers, there's some gaps. And what is unfortunate is those gaps are actually just as bad, if not worse, here in the Quad Cities than in other areas. We have, so for our wage gap, women who work full time in the Quad Cities make 72 cents for every dollar earned by a man. Median yearly earnings for women in the Quad Cities are in surrounding counties lag the nation and the states of Illinois and Iowa. So when we talk about some of these things, retaining talent, the wage gap, eliminating disparities for women in leadership roles, these are all the things we know that hold women back. Well, we're not going to necessarily be like, here's how we eliminate the wage gap today. What Lead Her does is it capitalizes on skills that women have and the community has, and we teach them to other women. And so then collectively these women go out into the community, and they're able to use these skills that they've learned through their individualized mentor or through group settings with Lead Her, and it kind of ripples across the world, right? But it does, because we have stories of women who leave the Quad Cities, and they go to other places, and they wish they, still had this free kind of opportunity. The thing about mentorship is that if you're familiar with the term agents of social change, so you as a person, you can, I don't want to be like, you can do whatever you want, but you can do a lot more if you leverage what you're looking for through someone who can support you through that. So it creates this momentum. A mentor helps you with your momentum, especially when things are hard, especially when there are barriers. Some of the skills that mentors and mentees report out of Lead Her, and this is just, it's kind of representative of mentorship for women in the Quad Cities, because we have almost 1,000 women that have been matched. 60, so networking is that number one thing. We know that 70% of jobs are obtained by networking. 60% of our respondents say that they've met 1 to 5 new people from being matched in Lead Her. 20% that they say that they've met over 10. So mentorship it's networking, but it's about growing your circle. It's about, how do I now have all of these different people that I can make work for me, which sounds kind of like cutthroat, but that's what it is. And we'll talk more about that. Goal setting. So these are the top six, but some of the other things that are mentioned, sales and productivity, volunteerism, collaboration. These are the skills that make us successful, not just in the workplace, but in everyday life. Collaboration, working together cohesively. Mentorship isn't just professional, it's personal as well. We really have to take a deeper look at what we are on the inside. The professional side of it, if you're going to define what is professional success, money, right? Status. So women in Lead Her these are our top 5. So let me read this. Out of 30 women, 4 received a promotion, 6 started a business, 8 completed new training or skilled up, 8 transitioned to a new role, and 6 found new employment because they had a mentor. They say the reason I was able to do that was because I had a person who helped me do it. Not necessarily because they learned a new skill, not necessarily because they, obtained a master's degree and that allowed them. It was because their mentor helped them achieve it. But don't listen to me. Let Karen tell you.
Lead Her has introduced me to women in the Quad Cities who I had never met through other networking organizations. The power that this organization has to bring women together who want to make a positive change is just absolutely incredible. So from those one-on-one mentoring relationships and the power of those matches to when we can come together as a community in huddles and other events, Lead Her has absolutely made it for me.
When I started at the hotel, I was the hotel operator. After being with Kirby, she encouraged me, get out there, network. I started going to HR association meetings around here.
This move changed her future.
I actually ran into my own HR department from work, and they found out what my major was and was like, you need to be in our department. So she got me promoted at my job where I'm at now.
Hi, my name is Amber Wood. I have been a mentor with Lead Her for 4 years now. It's been an amazing experience. I've been matched with some incredibly strong and passionate and committed and dedicated women, and they have grown and they have helped me to grow along the way. I support Lead Her because I believe in encouraging other women, lifting one another up, and supporting each other along the journey.
Beth Graven is my mentor, and I know today I would literally not be in this role had it not been for Beth.
My name is Annika, and I have been involved with Lead Her for about 2 years. And I have an incredible mentor and a really, really fun mentee. And I just am so thankful for this organization and the relationships that I have built there. And it's really encouraged me to go out there and chase my dreams and to help me know that what I have inside is something that is really, really valuable, and to get out into the community and share it. So thank you.
Yeah, that's why I hate. I was messing up. She says thank you to Lead Her. It was like the punchline. So all of those women actually that shared in that video have since had some sort of life change. And so it's interesting to just kind of see, that was my video editing skills, but putting those together, and then over time, none of those women in that video are in the same position. And we'd like to, or they might attest that their relationships with different mentors in their lives have allowed them to be successful. But today, we're going to learn how a little bit more about how we can put mentorship to work in our everyday lives. So we're going to practice some minute mentoring. We're going to do a little bit of this, just this quick activity. It's going to be a little uncomfortable, maybe. You are going to have to come off of your microphone. I guess it is video optional. Megan is going to break us up into rooms of 2. And what you're going to do is you are going to answer the question, and you're going to speak for an entire minute while your partner only listens. And then after 1 minute, we will switch and you'll do the same thing. So you'll be answering the question, who was your first mentor and how did they have an impact on your life today? 1 minute. You cannot stop. Keep talking. If you don't have anything to say, then you have to sit in awkward silence. And the vice versa, okay? Gotta listen. Don't interrupt. Don't make faces. Just learn about your new friend or your partner. Megan, are you going to be able to send us on our way?
Yes, and one group will have 3, so I'm sure you can all work it out.
Welcome back. Everybody popping back in here now. All right, how was that? Tell me how that made you feel.
I always love to hear mentor stories and see how different people have different impacts on people. And Madeline shared her story, and it's really cool to see how someone who may not have even realized the impact that they were having on her life and kind of her future have really helped set her up for great success.
Kind of like inspiring, right? Especially if you can identify something about your story, right, and someone else's. What about who felt like that was super comfortable? who felt like they it was awkward. They're like, this is the longest minute of my entire life. Angela. Why do we think that is? Why do we think that, you know, it is uncomfortable in some ways?
Well, I never really had a mentor per se, so it was kind of awkward just to not have anything to talk about. Even though I know it's very beneficial, it's just never something that's quite come up naturally.
Yeah, like maybe not your topic to share on. And that's okay. That's definitely a problem that can arise when you're, you know, communicating or connecting with someone. It can be hard to share if you don't have an experience or perspective on that. For me, it is very, very easy. I will tell you about like how I adopted my dogs. Like I will just talk and talk and talk. And if you're a listener, you probably will just listen and listen. When other people are speaking, I struggle to not be like, oh, I love dogs too. Oh my gosh. Or, you know, we wanted to try that restaurant. It's just a way that you want to connect, but it's also a way that you kind of like validate a person, right? And what happens? So our good friend, Rena Gainey is on this call. She runs Mentoring 101, which is our orientation. And she does this exercise. And she says, you know, what happens when you are having like a more in-depth conversation with someone? What happens if you just leave them in the silence for 15 seconds? Ask them why. Like, what's the thought process? What's the thing you talk about after you talk about the thing, right? That's really kind of what mentorship is about. It just comes back down to listening and sharing, which is like the two fundamental skills. How do you listen with intention? How do you share with intention? Both of those things are super hard for me. It is hard for me to listen and to filter out like the meaning, because I want to connect meaning in every single way. Okay. Listening, being an active listener is, I just have to be like, nope, and come back to what this person is saying to me, because being there fully and listening fully is really the only way that you can have successful mentorship, without judgment, without any kind of preconceived notions. Just truly listen to what that person is saying to you. And in sharing, right? How do you be an intentional sharer? I will tell you all the things, and my mentors are always like, okay, let's clear out the noise. Like, let's get back, let's level set. Level set is something I'm told a lot. Level set, like let's bring it back into what it is at its core. How do I share in a way that capitalizes on that person's time? I have to work on that, both as a mentor and as a mentee, to clear out the noise, to share in an intentional way. And then when I share intentionally, when I share 15% more, all of a sudden we're like making some changes, right? Same thing with listening. If you just listened 15% more to what a person is saying to you and really lean into it, right? The lean in, all of a sudden you're developing connections that weren't there before, associations, and then solutions. At its core, mentorship is I'm not going to read this whole thing, but it's voluntary, right? So mentorship isn't just about having a friend. It's not just about having this, you know, person who can give you all the answers. It's a relationship that develops over time. You have to be accountable for where it's going, because you have to drive it, even if you don't know where it's going. Like, you just have to have that momentum and the desire to make changes and implement changes. And on the flip side, as a mentor, you have to have the desire to give back, the desire to grow in your leadership, grow in your communication skills, because mentors don't, I've just told you, I don't have it all. Being a mentor is a much harder exercise in leadership than being a mentee, in my experience. And So moving forward, it's kind of like, how do you build that accountability to yourself? I'm accountable. I'm an accountable person. I run a nonprofit. I do all the things, right? I'm accountable in general, but what does accountability look like in your own growth? And what does that growth look like when you're leveraging all of these other people, right? So, a couple of things that we should look out for when we're listening is what is your body saying? I'm terrible at this. So terrible at this. That's feedback that I will get 9 times out of 10 is just kind of like that, the professional, like, how do I, like, I'm like cross-legged here, guys, like sitting crisscross applesauce in my chair. Those are things that may or may not signal to someone that I am listening, right? How am I holding my body? What's my bias saying? So like, what is my emotional reaction to what this person is saying? Like, don't have an emotional reaction. Just listen. Like, just be like, it's not about me. And then later, if you need to like, dive through like, wow, when she said this thing, it blew my mind and kind of made me angry. Do that work like later, right? Be listening but be aware of how your experiences might cause you to judge someone else's experiences while they're sharing with you. Got to try to silence those thoughts. Stop, just listen, be in the moment. I'm not great with stillness, and I super don't like silence. I will just fill. I worked with middle schoolers and high schoolers, and like you had to dig it out of them sometimes, and I'm really good at that. When you're sharing 15% more, when you're leaning into that, what's honesty look like? If you're not honest with yourself, you can't be honest with your mentor or mentee. They can't be honest with you. We're not doing like, it's 20, it's almost 2023. Like, we're not doing the thing where it's, I will only respect you if you respect me. You give respect to gain respect. And when you make mentorship part of your everyday life, you have to be willing to kind of put that like vibe and that energy out there. If you want someone to work with you, you have to offer respect, offer honesty, offer vulnerability. And then your mentor or mentee can match those things too. It's a journey. It's not easy, but when you share, be vulnerable about the things that have been hard for you. Amber mentioned, speaking, I think it was Madeline, if that was correct. Speaking to Madeline and just like hearing about her story resonated with her. And so when she goes, to do the next thing, she might feel just like a little bit less alone because of that 2-minute conversation with Madeline, because Madeline pushed herself to share, to be vulnerable. So at its very root, every single day, mentorship is about listening and sharing. Make sure you're being, culturally and situationally aware. I didn't know this was such a big thing, but it is, because I'm emotionally draining, is ask for permission. Hey, is this something that's cool that we can talk about? Or I've been reading about this, or this thing's going on in the news, or, oh, I saw that you had this, big thing in your life. Can we talk about it? And if this person's like, I'm not really ready to talk about it. Perfect. Maybe it's not something that needs to be in line with your relationship. Maybe you don't have the trust that is there yet, and you need to work on building trust, and be culturally and situationally aware. We have things that happen every day in our country that are so terrible. And sometimes we need to just like take a step back and be like, hey, do you need support or solutions? So when I ask my friends all the time, you need support or solutions? You need me to like rally the troops and like, be your hype girl? I got you. Or do you need me to help you figure this out? Because those are 2 different things. And a mentor and mentee, in mentorship, those are 2 different things too, right? So setting yourself up for success, maybe I don't need my mentor to solve this problem for me. Maybe I just need them to offer some perspective. A new perspective. Okay, so my tips and tricks, right? Look at, that's so precious. baby Megan and baby Amber careers ago, whole careers ago. So I'm going to lead you through another activity. We're not going to do breakout rooms. Pull out a pen and paper. And this is actually something, so I openly admit that I'm kind of like burnout recovery. Like I'm trying to be like I'm a recovering people pleaser is what is happening. And I had a friend that made me write out all of the things that I was working on. And a lot of my mentors have spent a lot of time being like, what do you care about? Like, why do you juggle all these things? Why do you spin all of these plates? And at the end of the day, I had to be honest with myself and say for external validation. Like 100%. Like I want people to think I'm smart. I want to change the world. I want to raise the money for the organization. I marry people on the weekends. Like I want to do it all, right? And so we, especially as women, we start spinning all of these plates, right? We've got all of these plates going. So take out a piece of paper and I want you to think about right now, like it's, Tuesday over the lunch hour. What are the plates that you're spinning right now? How many plates do you have up in the air? I'm going to write mine down and I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Okay. Just wrap up those last few. You can continue to work on it. So I just wrote down mine one. All right, who wants to share their number? How many plates are you spinning? And then we're gonna publicly shame you. Just kidding. Yeah, so I'm going 10. 10 plates. I had 8. John, welcome. 8, 6, that's better. That's better. 9, yeah. Lots of plates, right? Okay. Now think about the fact, like, let's take this one step further. How many of the plates are we spinning are made of glass? Why? Yes, it is absolutely a thing, and it actually counts for like four of the plates, Marsha. So when we're spinning all these plates, like thinking about, okay, it's literally unsustainable, right? You're just gonna do it till your arms fall off, or you're gonna do it till you drop every single plate, right? Every single plate, if every single plate is made of glass, is made of porcelain, it's going to shatter, right? What on this list are things that are not like breakable? They are things that like you can make it a paper plate. You can set it down. You can put it on the counter for a couple of days and come back to it. The first thing I wrote down is my garden. I have like this water situation. We want to do as much rainwater collecting. We're crunchy, I guess. It's a thing. And it's just like driving me crazy because it's not filling the water buckets upright. Okay. Weird plate, right? Not a glass plate, paper plate. I can not worry about the garden and the water situation and come back to that problem. But we forget sometimes that some of the things that really consume us are things that we can set down and come back to worry about later. Like we don't have to spin it in perpetuity, right? Setting plates down is the right thing. Now out of your list, okay, I want you to prioritize. I'm going to give you just like a couple of seconds, prioritize, write down, you got 4 plates. On your very, very best day to do things well, you can only spin 4 plates. And we're talking, I know that this room is full of some very, very capable, smart, accomplished people. Like those are some heavy, expensive, impressive plates that we are spinning, right? So I wrote down on mine, we have, there's a big grant application due at the end of the week. And so that is something, there's a lot of things that go into that. And just the pressure of wanting to do it the best I can, that's a plate that I'm spinning that I can't set down right now, but I'm going to spin it very carefully and, take nice care of it. And then on Monday, I will set that plate down and try not to pick up 2 more plates in its place, right? So what are your 4? I'm gonna give you just like 10 more seconds. All right, does anybody want to share so we've got like 7 and 10, some really high numbers. When some of us are cutting it in half, you go down to 4, I have to cut my plates in half. Can't exactly just cut out, I've got bills on here, like wifing, it's like, adulting. Can't really cut that out. That can ruin your life, right? Can't not write the grants, get rid of the garden. I got, family. I'm trying to schedule to go out of town. That's probably a plate that can be made of plastic. Like I can set it down and come back and spend a certain amount of time on it, right? So the reason, just looking at my time here. So, goodbye, Lori. I miss you. So the reason I made you do this is, and then think about your worst day. What's your worst day? One thing. That should be you. That one plate should be your health and wellness. It should be, for me, when I did this, like I said, I did this activity, I had 20 things. I was sitting on 3 boards and I was just pouring into all of these things because I could. And it was unsustainable and I was going to die doing it. It was like killing all of the things I love because I was doing so much of the things I love, right? But it really was just about me giving and not about what my true values are. What do I really, Angela, it's bad, right? It should be number 1. We are not good. Especially we're not meant to just take in all this suffering that we see on social media and we talk about self-care. It cannot just be Jean Day and pizza. It has to be take the time to work on your boundaries. Nice segue, right? So if you go to therapy, they'll give you a boundaries worksheet. And on that boundaries worksheet, you will learn quickly that boundaries are not just about no, I'm not going to take on that extra project. Boundaries are about your skill set. Boundaries are about material. Boundaries are about your emotions. I have no boundaries when it comes to sharing my emotions. Is that negative or positive? Does that help me or hurt me when forming relationships that are meaningful with others? Right? So when since I'm an oversharer, I'm a natural oversharer, some of my boundaries are when I have these mentors in my life, I don't talk to them about my partner and our fight. I don't talk to them about oh, I want to, let's talk about me refinancing so that I want to put a new roof on our house. I need to know what your values are and then build boundaries around your time, your talent, your treasure, anything so that the people around you are best leveraged. And then you talk about building your personal board, right? How are you going to know what you need from a mentor if you don't know your own values? if you don't know how to protect them or set them up for success, you need to assess those things first. Like what are your plates? What are you going to set down? What are you not going to set down? What's like life altering and what is just, you're just pulling along a dead thing. So once you know your values and kind of like where your boundaries are, and you get your plates down, hopefully to a manageable amount, something that reflects who you are, what makes you happy, what like makes you tick, and then you protect it, then build your board. You talk about this, building your personal board, right? So how do you make every single person a mentor, or turn every moment into a mentorship moment? It's by listening and sharing just 15% more. But you do that better if you know who you are yourself, where you're wanting to go, and where you don't want to go. Sometimes like that's the first thing. When I was working with middle school kids, I was like, make me a list, 10 things you know you don't want to do. You know what I don't want to do? Work out. Everybody's like, yes, exercise. I'm like, I like to sit in the sun in my garden. Like, we don't believe in weeding over here. So it's not on my list, right? But the garden made the list, right? The garden made the list. So, what are the things that are pushing you forward in life? You can't build other people to support you in that if you don't know where you're going. You also can't be what you don't see, right? We've all kind of heard that. So if you have these goals, if you have dreams of doing things and you don't have people in your life that have done that or can offer you some sort of guidance, you can't be that. When we go back to looking at the different barriers that women experience, you just don't see that leadership because there's less leadership. It's kind of like the problem begets the problem, right? So what mentorship is about is trying to get some, says one new message. I don't know why I did that, popped up. Having some representation, right? Getting that leadership that you need that perhaps you haven't gotten before, but also capitalizing on mentorship when you're different or when it's not representative of your same experience. That's what makes Lead Her really great, is we're going to match you for as many things as I can possibly find that make you a good match relationship. And you two are going to find all of the other reasons, but you'll also find where you're different. And that's where growth happens, right? It's in like the setting down of plates. It's the like figuring out what matters. And then you build these people around you. It sounds really bad, but like, here's how you get a mentor: Lead Her and asking someone. Those are your two ways to get a mentor. And it sounds like, oh, it can't be that easy. But if you know what you want, if you know what you're trying to learn, and you then vet out this person, like, I know they have this skill, then you can say, I'd like to be mentored in this way. If we know who Melissa Pepper is, Melissa Pepper gives me feedback on my public speaking. She is scary, and I love her. And she has been such an amazing mentor to me. And she told me that my number one thing I need to work on is executive presence. If you're not aware of that, Google it and you'll be like, yes, yep, Megan, to a T. And I was like, I know that I talk like a Valley girl and I have tattoos and maybe that's, it doesn't command a room. And she's like, no, I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about, do you demand respect from the people that are listening to you? And I was like, well, I want their validation. And she's like, so that's a no. I was like, oh, she got me. And I keep her around, and I will always, like, she's the person that will give me the hard truth. She is not going to fluff it. She's not going to be like Amber, where Amber's like, you are amazing, even when you make the dumbest choice. She never said that. But that's, it's a different kind of mentorship. It's a different kind of belief about yourself. And so you need all of these different people in your life, or mentorship doesn't really like serve its purpose, right? You just get that niche of something And you need to be able to grow in all the ways. And maybe you're lucky and you have an amazing mentor like I do that helps me grow in way more ways, also because she has nonprofit experience. But it's, you know, you should keep, if you know what your values are, you keep working towards it, right? You should fire board members. That doesn't mean, hey, I don't want to be your friend anymore. Stop taking advice, like from people, like stop taking criticism from people you wouldn't take advice from, right? Sometimes this is the hardest thing. I wake up every day and I try to tell myself this. People aren't always buying what you're selling. And it means nothing about you. You can be amazing, but if they're not buying what you're selling, fire them. Stop asking them for advice. Go to a person who's just as invested in you as you are invested in you, right? That's how you make everything a mentorship moment. It's not about, you know, it's not about like having all the answers. It's about being invested in yourself enough to leverage what you have to get the answers. That might be systemic issues like the wage gap. And you go into negotiation and all of a sudden you are like, I have the skills and I'm never taking less. And if we do that for 100 women this year and 100 women next year, we are moving the needle. But mentorship might also just be being able to get in front of a room full of people and not want to pass out. Mentorship might just be looking over your resume and helping you along the job search because it's scary. Mentorship might be that you're in a new phase of your life and you're trying to figure out what that looks like. We have, with the great resignation, we everybody's in these we're in new careers, we're in new journeys, we're in new things, and mentorship goes with you. Leader mentorship goes with you. It's going to stay on that journey. It's going to be personal and professional, and hopefully that person is going to continue to kind of help fuel the fire for you. And every moment can be a mentorship moment because you figured out what you want, how you're going to protect it, and how to leverage it. So I'm going to just like open it up. I spoke a lot. We have 3 minutes. This is my contact information. Yes, you can get involved with Lead Her. Please visit us at it's leadherqc.org. You can find us on Facebook. Add me on Facebook. If we're not friends on Facebook, I'm annoying you'll see more posts than you want, but you can silence me and not unfriend me because that would hurt my feelings. We also have a LinkedIn, a couple different groups, pages. Lead Her is free. 1 hour a month. You don't have to be an expert. Let's talk more about it. Sahili, is that how you say your name?
Sahili, yep.
You just got matched recently.
I did, and I love my match. We're actually meeting again today, but my match is awesome because we don't meet monthly. We meet every single week, and it's very fun. Yeah, I just love getting an email from her because it makes my day. Like, she won't just be like, hi, Sahili. She'll be like, dear, my beautiful Sahili. And it just makes my day because everything she says is just filled with like sunshine and happiness. And she's from Peru, and she invited me to her house to cook Peruvian food with her and meet her kids, and her kids are my age. So I'm excited to do all that. I feel like I've not only been matched with a mentor, but like a friend circle since I just moved to the Quad Cities a couple months ago. And she leads the International Student Club at Blackhawk College. So I got to meet all her students who are from like different countries, and it's just really awesome. So I would highly recommend it. It exceeded my expectations by far.
And I will tell you that, so I'm like, obviously I read like Haley's like application, right? And she said specifically, like, I don't necessarily want, like, yes, it'd be great to have a mentor in my career field, but I'd rather have a mentor that can like help me connect to the area, create like a long-term, that long-term board member role, like over time helps you in all the things and not just necessarily like, here's your first 90 days in a transition. And on the flip side, you might have the complete opposite. Like, hey, I'm grinding for this promotion and I need to be coached. Help me. Thank you for sharing. I'm so glad to hear that. Lord is sunshine. So
Wonderful. Does anybody else have some questions for Megan while she's still here? Amazing presentation, by the way.
thanks.
I love learning about Lead Her every chance that I can get. Well, if we have no more questions, thank you so much, Megan, for coming and sharing with us some tips and tricks about mentoring. I hope everybody, learns something new that they can take and use for more mentorship moments. Quick announcement, please join us for our next Lunch and Learn. It is August 16th. So we hope to see you guys there. It's going to be with Dr. Jim Bang. He's a professor of economics here at St. Ambrose University. He's going to be talking to us about employment responses to market challenges. So please register and we hope to see you guys there. But thank you again for everybody attending today. And thank you again, Megan, for sharing with us about mentorship.